speaking of becoming a thing, it is that time, y'all. It is that time. If you don't know what time it is, I'm about to tell you. So, we have, what, 400 some odd people in here?
Uh-huh.
So let's get down to this. You guys know me. I am Miss Coffee.
Hey!
What you don't know is that I have a lot of creator friends. You will see them in chats. They will usually have creator friend names like Jeremy's JTMJ Crafts or The Uncrafty Crafter and stuff like that. Ruby Q Crafts. If you see craft in your name, they probably have a channel, okay? Craft. So, with that said, this is the official announcement.
Ooh!
It is January 1st, 2021.
Ooh!
Every year, I challenge my fellow creators to do a 1-hour whip and chat.
Ooh!
We call it the 1-hour whip and chat challenge. What you are to do, if you are a creator, is to create a video 1 hour in length. It cannot.
I can do that. I can do that.
At least.
Can I do that? Hang on, let me just check with everyone.
For a video.
Hi guys, did you hear that? Did you hear that? That was one of my favorite creators, Mrs Crochet and Coffee. I'm going to include her link down below in the description. She is absolutely amazing and has inspired me to actually do what I'm doing right now. And she's so generous that she is allowing all of the existing and also new creators on YouTube to be able to reach out to the wider community and share our channels. So I would love for you to join my 1-hour whip and chat. I'm going to be working on a project. For those that are new to diamond painting and don't know what a whip is, it's a work in progress. And I'm going to be chatting and just letting you know all about me, what's brought me to my diamond painting stage now, and probably might even talk about my where I grew up and where I am here in Melbourne, Australia. So are you going to come and join me? Come join me. Come along for the ride. I'm going to get set up now so that you get a bit of view of what I'm going to be working on, and I'll see you soon. Hey, so I'm back. What did you think of that? Oh my goodness, Mrs Crochet and Coffee, you are so generous. That is a lovely gesture, and I want to say thank you. I'm going to link her website or her YouTube channel down below in the description. Check her out. I think she's absolutely amazing. So what is today or this session all about? It's basically, as I said before, it's a whip and chat. Grab your coffee, grab your tea. I've got a tea today. For those that are teetotalers, I tussle between English breakfast and Earl Grey in my tea. What am I working on? I'm actually working on what's called a snack painting today, and it is a diamond dots. I used this in one of my other videos, and I thought, you know what, I need a break from my massive projects that I'm doing. I'm doing a 60 by 90 custom of my 2 kids that I'm going to talk about later anyway, but I needed something that I just wanted to churn through, finish, and I've actually already got a frame for this, and I'm thinking I might put this up in my office at work. I'm not too sure, but it's just a beautiful rose. Okay, it's just a beautiful simple rose. It's got 11 colors. I've already kitted it up. It is the quickest kit up that I've ever done, seriously. It's just reds and oranges and greens, very simple. I'm using an A3 light pad, which I purchased. Sorry for the glare, I'm going to try and keep that down. But it's an A3 light pad, which allows me to see the symbols through the canvas. If I turn it off, you can see the difference there. I can potentially get away with not having to use it if that's annoying people. I'll give it a whirl and see how I go. My pen, I have actually ordered a pen from Diamond Art Club, and I'm waiting for it to come. It's actually in Melbourne somewhere. It's at the sorting centre. I was hoping that it would come today, get delivered today. Who knows, if the doorbell rings and I have to run, it could be it. However, I have just got a normal pen that you get in your kits, and I've put a double squishy on it like that, because I've got my 4-placer at one end and my single placer there, and that's all I've been using this whole time. Nothing fancy. So let's get into it. I've already got my first color out. Pardon me. Have a sip before we start and let you know all about Grace. So as you know, the name is Grace. I actually am 49 years old and live here in Melbourne, Australia. And for those that don't know, Australia, the land down under, the land down under. I live in the northern suburbs of Melbourne. I don't live in the city as such. However, I do work very, very close to the city. I changed jobs early last year, and I'm enjoying actually the public transport, believe it or not, to get into work. So that's been a bit of a different thing compared to all the other jobs that I've had throughout my working career so far. But we'll get back to work in due course. So yeah, 49 years old. I grew up the daughter of Italian parents, so they migrated here to Australia when they were both 9 years old, separate to each other, but they came, coincidentally enough, when they were both 9 years old. And I grew up in a little country town called Swan Hill. And now for those that don't know where that might be, if you can picture the border of Victoria and New South Wales, the Murray River actually forms most of that border, and Swan Hill is situated on the Murray. So it is a beautiful country town, beautiful country town. I actually grew up a little outside of town, but if I was to mention that little area, no one would ever know. But I grew up on a vineyard, so I'm actually a farmer's girl. Worked, got my hands dirty, picking grapes. You know, we had all sorts of things, not only grapes, we had stone fruit, we had vegetables, we had all sorts of good stuff. So it's lots of hard work. A farmer's life is never easy, and you know, when you're a child growing up, you have to contribute to what's going on, because it's a family thing. So from a very, very young age, I'm the eldest of four children. From a very, very young age, you know, I was taught not only to obviously keep house and do housework and all that good stuff, but I was actually working on the farm. My dad taught me to drive in an old HQ column shift ute. And I was driving from about the age of 14, just around on the ute, around on the farm, I should say. And, you know, helping with all the farm work. And then, yep, sorry, I was actually also on a tractor. So I was driving the tractor, hauling a trailer, picking up all the fruit and veg as it was getting picked and sorted. And so I did all of that growing up, and went to school, obviously. Finished my year 12 or high school in Swan Hill, and then moved down to Melbourne to go to university. So my background is actually that of I actually have 2 degrees, one in journalism and the other in science or biological sciences. So from uni, obviously, I had a choice. Back in that day, which was a long time ago, to get into journalism was very, very difficult. I'm not too sure what it is today. However, back then it was either via a cadetship, which were very, very rare, or it was a who you know to get into the industry, yeah? So I did not know anyone in the journalism field. However, I always had a passion for both, you know, the journalism, writing, and also science. I loved science. Science was my best subject in high school, and I knew that was where I wanted to do something. So I ended up getting into uni and did medical laboratory science, and became that just went down. Oh no, I did it right. And ended up working as a biochemist. So at uni is where I met my ex-husband, and we went on, had a couple of kids. couple of kids. Yeah, we had a couple of offspring together. They're now 17 and 19. Two young men that I am super proud of. Super proud of. They are the joy, the lifeblood of, you know, my being. I love them dearly. So they are coming today, which is really, I'm looking forward to them. I have them here with me every second week, and I'll be seeing them later on today. We'll get to talk about them a bit later as well. So yeah, I worked as a medical laboratory scientist or as a biochemist for some years, and an opportunity came my way. I guess, you know, if I have to think about what's gone on in my life so far, and the choices and decisions I've made, I guess either consciously or subconsciously, I think I have to attribute my desire to push my boundaries and try new things to my dad. My dad, he and my mum, they married here in Melbourne, and my dad, he really threw caution to the wind and shipped up his wife, who was a professional receptionist or secretary at that time, and my dad, who was actually a working and qualified aircraft mechanic. And at that stage it was only myself and my sister who were born, and he decided he wanted a change of life, and so with that being said, he decided to want to be a farmer, and he basically shipped all of us up to Swan Hill. When I say shipped, he moved us up to Swan Hill. Now, we knew nothing of farm life, nothing. Or when I say we, I was only 5 at the time, but my parents knew absolutely nothing. And it was a very beautiful community up in Swan Hill where, they were able to quickly become friends with the local Italian community and Aussie community as well. Which symbol am I looking for? I've got to concentrate here. This one. And they helped them. They helped, teach them all the basics. And, my dad, for not having known anything about farming whatsoever, so impressed that, for 20 plus years, I'm pretty sure it was, that we were up there, we ran a vineyard. And unfortunate though it is, what a lot of people don't realize is that farm life is, it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig. You are at the mercy of the elements. You are at the mercy of everything. One bad year can wipe out your crop. And when I say your crop, that's your income for a year. So it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig. Whilst they were up in Swan Hill, again, Dad wanted to expand and do a few other things, and opened up a continental delicatessen and a fresh fish shop. And the last thing that he did up there was a pizza shop. So, he's always said, he never wanted to be accused of not trying. And I've taken on that same sort of concept, or that same sort of mantra. I don't want to be lying in bed awake thinking, what if? What if I did do that? How would my life have been different? I don't want to have any regrets, I suppose, so give things a go. So that's why, one of the reasons, I guess, that, I'm doing diamond painting. That's another reason why I'm doing a YouTube channel. Why not? Give it a go. I don't want to have any regrets. So part of my, so went on, and I've had 2 children. I worked a home-based selling business, plasticware, with my ex-husband for 15 years, which was amazing. We both ran it together as managers. One of the very few and rare manager teams in this particular business in the country, and we were quite successful as a team together. we hit a lot of highs and milestones and achieved some great accolades, which was awesome. And one of the reasons that I started that was that I kind of had nothing to lose by starting it, and the business just really took off. And when I started it, we only had our eldest, and within 1 month of starting this business, I became pregnant with our second, and I was loving it so much that I really didn't want to give it up. So I kept going with it. Obviously, it got to a point where I had to, stop or at least slow down. But at the same time, I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to stop it and give it away, because I had built up such a great business of clientele, and the income was amazing. And so at the time, I said to my ex-husband, I said, you know what, jump on board and do this with me and keep going whilst, I give birth to this second child and look after, the children. And because I knew he would be good at it. He had the talent to really be successful, and lo and behold, he really was. And between me managing the team that we had and building our team and training our team and recruiting and everything else like that, and him having the sales skills, we built up a really good business. It came time. Everything has its time, yeah. And one of the reasons that we continued on that business, aside from all the financial perks and company cars and free product and all that good stuff, is we were fortunate enough to be able to run that business and be stay-at-home parents. Here in Australia, childcare is very, very expensive, and aside from that, I never ever wanted to put and this is my personal choice, I never really wanted to put my children in childcare. So what this business allowed us to do was work from home and pretty much be there for all of our kids' milestones, their first day at school, all their school parades, that they'll, their Easter hat parades, all that stuff that is so important in their primary school years, and then again in their high school years. So we were able to pick them up, drop them off. There was never any need for, childcare to look after them. It got to a point, though, as I said before, all good things come to an end, and I decided that it was time for a change of direction. So I left the business and decided to work full-time. So I work now full-time in real estate, and I still do to this day. And I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. It is so satisfying, because the role that I have in real estate is, it's not a money-making thing for me. It is about helping people in their properties and helping sort out problems and finding solutions. So I love what I do in real estate. So as you know, we've been in a lovely lockdown for most of this year. I'm going to leave my AB. This has got ABs in it, guys, just to digress a little bit. I do digress. It's got ABs, and I think I might leave them till last, the sparkly ones. And I work my canvases from right to left, so I'm trying to see what other ones that I can find. I think I might go for this one here. This one here. Oh, so where was I? Yeah, so we've been, locked down here, and I was still fortunate enough to be working from home. And I had been walking past our news agency for, when I was able to go to the shops. Pardon me. And always seeing these little boxes out of the corner of my eye. And I'm thinking, what is this diamond painting? What does it mean? So on. And I'm thinking, you know what, Gracie? It's only $20. Give it a whirl. Give it a whirl. What have you got to lose? Yeah, remember what I said? What have you got to lose? And I brought it home and I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue. I was winging it. Honestly, I was literally winging. I just opened up the bags. I thought, okay, this is what you do. This is how you do it. I think I may have brought up one YouTube video to say, oh, okay, this is what you do with the pen, this is what you do with the wax, and let's go. Well, my first diamond painting, you would think that it would be a small little snack size, something like this. And this one here is only, it's only 35.5 by 27.9, and that's the canvas size, and it's a partial at that. Yeah, you would think that as a first time thing that I would go small. No. Gracie goes hard or goes home, doesn't she? She gets herself a nice 50 by 65. Guys, if I tell you that I was up till about 3 or 4 that morning, no word of a lie, I was instantly addicted. And I thought, oh my goodness. I'm loving life. I'm absolutely loving life. This is what I need. It was just so relaxing and so calming, and it was kind of bringing me back to my scrapbooking days. I used to be an extremely avid scrapbooker. I used to have, back in the old family home, a whole room dedicated to my scrapbooking. And when I say a whole room, it was literally our whole spare room. And it was wall to wall and, you know, floor to ceiling. I'll try and remember to insert a photo of it here for you. It was just floor, or if I don't, I'll talk about it and upload it in another video. But it was floor to ceiling. Get your words out, Gracie. Floor to ceiling, wall to wall. Of scrapbooking, you know, supplies and papers and tools, and I absolutely loved it, and I still do to this day. It's not that I've given it up. Indeed, I have it all packed away in the house that I'm living in now. I just don't have the room for it, and I was really missing my crafting. I enjoy my crafting, and I attribute that a bit to my mum and to my dad. Both of them have got, you know, that streak of creativity within them. Pleased to say that both my youngest brother and my youngest child also have that you know, desire to create and do craft work. And both of them are quite diverse actually in what they enjoy doing. I can knit, if you call knitting, what is it? Knit one, purl one, and a scarf, and that's it. Like literally, that's it. I go from, I'll start a line and it just becomes a scarf, and that's as far as I go with knitting. I haven't done it in years and years. I can sew. I can sew, you know, to repair and basic straight lines. My nonna, which is Italian for grandmother, she taught me to sew on her Singer sewing machine when I was living with her, when I moved to Melbourne to go to uni. I'll get back to that in a second. But they're the sort of crafts that I do enjoy. And so back to my newsagent story. I'm going to go round and round in circles. So keep up with me. I picked up this thing and decided, oh no, that is the wrong one. My goodness, what are you doing, Gracie? The right way to pick these up, really, if you make a mistake, is not to slide them, because you'll ruin the glue. Where am I here? Oh, actually, you know what? Let's just do that. Getting carried away with what I'm putting down here. And here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so, and then I thought, you know, I just worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. That first diamond painting, finished it, and I was wrapped. I was wrapped with the result. I was wrapped with the experience, and I thought, okay, now I'm going to take this thing to the next level. So I bought another canvas, and I didn't have these containers, which I will link down below. I didn't have these containers here at that point. I think I just bagged them up in little baggies at the time and did my second and third and fourth project, and I was just, that's it, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I started at that stage because when you're diamond painting, I don't know if you're diamond painting now listening to this, so you could be driving, you could be on public transport on your way to work, who knows. But when I diamond paint, I like to listen to my favorite YouTubers, whether they're doing their whip and chats, whether they're doing unboxings, all sorts of topics. I will just have it going on in the background and listen to them, and came across Mrs Crochet and Coffee was my first one that I actually came across. So started listening, and I thought, wow, there is a whole community of us out there. And there is when I say us, of diamond painters. I didn't realize that this hobby was so popular, and internationally so. And so I from there I went on and became a member of quite a few social media diamond painting groups, and you can find them all on Facebook. If you there's some Australian based ones, there's obviously people's personal ones. I'm a part of a few of them, because you always, you know, get to see other people's work, you get to hear their feedback online with particular canvases or companies, which is really also very useful. So it was towards the end of last year that I kind of in my mind thought, you know what, Grace, you've always been someone to give things a go. You've always been, you know, someone to push your boundaries. Why not take what you're doing to the next level and do your own YouTube? You know, and oh, run away. And I was, you know, I was going backwards and forwards in my mind. Do I, don't I? You know, is anyone going to be listening to me? You know, there's so much content out there. And I don't want to do the same as everyone else. I don't want to be anyone else. I'm me. What you'll get is, you know, me. I think I'm pretty sure I said that in my intro video. You're not going to get, like, I don't want to be anyone else. I can't be anyone else. Indeed, when I used to train our team in the business, I used to say to them, you know, don't try and be anyone but yourself, because you can only keep that up so far. And not only that, you know, people will see through it. So when I'm doing my unboxings online, if my reaction is a positive one, it's a genuine positive one. If I see something that I'm not entirely happy with, I'm going to say it how it is. That's you know, just how I'm going to roll. I'm not here to promote companies or to, you know, talk positively about a company if I don't feel that their products are up to standard. You know, these things can be cheap or they can be expensive, and either way, if someone is going to be watching something that I put online and listening to what I say about that particular product and purchase it, I don't want them to come back to me and say, hey Gracie, you said blah 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 blah, and yet look at this, the service was crap, the canvas was crap, the drills were, you know, all trash. It's not going to roll that way. So as far as unboxings go, or even life in general, I say it how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to be nasty. I'm not a nasty person, gosh. But I'm not going to say something is good, in my opinion, when in my opinion, I don't feel it is. I don't think it's fair. Just like I have been guided by those before me, and still am guided when I see people talking online about products and or methods and things like that, you know, I take, not that I take their word for it, but I take that on board in my choice and my decisions. So it's kind of a bit of a responsibility, and I take that very, very seriously. It's kind of a bit of a responsibility, and I take that very, very seriously. I'm really liking how this is coming out. Really liking how this is coming out. So that's kind of like what's brought me to my diamond painting stage. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but the kids, they come every second week. So on every other week, I have quite a lot of time to kill. We've only just now been permitted, really, to go visit family and friends late last year, so that's on the cards as well. However, in the late night hours, I find that this is very, very therapeutic. So that's pretty much what that, you know, why I am where I am here. So living the single mum life, it is different. You know, was married for 20 years, and life happens and things change, and if nothing else, I do have out of, you know, that relationship 2 wonderful children that I adore, as I mentioned before. And, you know, life experience, you know, things happen for a reason. Things happen for a reason. Teaches you lessons in life, makes you stronger, tests you at times. But I'm good. I'm in a good place. And just moving on with everything that needs to be done. Okay. So what else can I tell you? All right. So I don't know if you've picked up, I'm not the skinniest, which, you know what? I'm good with that. Growing up, let's ban. This is me pouring it all out now, yeah? So when I was growing up, I was always the big girl, the fat kid of the class. I always was. And looking back on it now, you know, and I remember all, you know, kids can be cruel, and they were, I'm not gonna lie. Primary school was pretty tough, not only because I was a bigger girl, but being Italian. Now you might think, why, Grace, was that an issue? And I'll tell you why. In Swan Hill, it was very, very difficult to be going to school. I'm gonna have to put this light on because it's, there we go. I hope that's okay. So being in Swan Hill, it was very, very difficult because the majority of the kids and the families and the community, let's say, were Anglo-Saxon, or we also had obviously a big Aboriginal community as well, which Aboriginals, from my international friends, are our native Australians. They were the first Australians here who own the land. I'm not going to get into the politics of it all, but they are our, and they are, you know, the original Australians. Anyway, so I digress. Back to Swan Hill. You know, Italian, fat, and I was overweight. Always. I was always the chubbiest kid in the class. Always. And I had to have a thick skin. Growing up. It wasn't easy. I wasn't, you know, we lived out on a farm, you know, far from everyone, and so I didn't have also, you know, the after school friends catch up. So it was just me and my siblings, really, and that was it. So friends wise, you know, I came, funnily enough, from a social perspective, to absolutely love school. I loved school because that was where I actually got to see people. We never saw anyone, you know, either on the weekends or after school. And when I say anyone, we never got to see anyone that I went to school with. And you might be saying, but why would you want to go to, why would you want to spend time with these kids that were teasing you? And you're right, but as a kid, you still do crave that friendship. Yeah, so I loved going to school. I loved the academic side of it as well. I used to read so much, and really enjoyed it. I hated school holidays. Funny, I was probably the only kid that ever did. I hated school holidays. For me, school holidays basically meant working on the farm. In my latter, my senior high school years, it meant combination of working on the farm and basically homework. And I craved doing my homework. I didn't mind doing my homework. That was fine. But the other side of that is that school holidays, those 2-3 weeks at a time, also meant that I was away from friends, those friends that I had made. And that was really hard. I grew up in a time where we had no mobile phones. We didn't have mobile phones. Are you serious? Are you serious? I grew up with the old dial telephones. Yeah, the old dial telephones. And in an area where we had STD charges. So it was basically long distance to call if you had to call from Swan Hill to Melbourne. And so we always had to be mindful, or not that I used to call, anyone here in Melbourne, my parents would, but they would always wait till that peak time, that after peak time to make those calls, because we'd get charged an arm and a leg. How things have changed. It's unbelievable to me. Anywho, so yeah, I hated school holidays. Loved school. Loved school. And in my senior years, things changed. The maturity and of everyone, including myself, changed. And I had still my core group of friends, absolutely. However, as I said, maturity, is a wonderful thing, and others started, seeing me for who I am, and not just the fat kid and not just the dork and all that good stuff, but made some really good friends, in my high school. With that being said, I didn't mean I lost any weight. No. I came to Melbourne when I was 18, got into uni, as I said. Moved in with my nonna whilst the family stayed back in Swan Hill. They later joined here in Melbourne some years later. But, I tried, and if I look back and I say I tried to lose weight, did I try really? Look, I did stubborn little drill. I did Weight Watchers on and off, and I did drop a few kilos at one point, but no, it just wasn't happening. Without going through year by year of everything, I ended up, going to uni, getting married, having kids, and I was still big, really big. I reached a point where it was ridiculously big, like dangerously big. I wasn't able to walk because my heel had gotten a spur in it, and I couldn't walk from one end of the shopping centre to the other. That's how bad I had gotten. I had reached, and I'm not, I own it. I'm a person who owns it. I had reached a whopping, here it is, a whopping 145 or 48 kilos. Yeah, that's big. That was big. That's how much I was at my absolute biggest. Anywho, I was 39 years old, and I was done. I was done with, you know, the crash diets. I was done with feeling that, you know, I couldn't move and I had no energy, and I just wasn't liking it. You know, life wasn't fun anymore. You know, I can be a vivacious person. I'm a very friendly person. I'll make friends wherever I go. You know, I'm a very open, understanding, you know, easy person like that. But I was starting to really feel down about me. I was looking at my kids and I'm going, you know what, I haven't even got the energy to run around with them or do anything. I can barely, you know, I was in a really bad way. So as I became 39, I decided, you know what, you're going to be 40 next year, Gracie. And I have never been a big, like, I'm not one to celebrate my birthday in a big way. Never have been, never will be. And I thought to myself, you're going to be 40 next year, Gracie. Do something that is going to be marking your 40th birthday and marking in a way that, you know, is going to be forever memorable, which it has been. And so that's when I decided for my weight loss that I ended up having what's called lap band surgery. Now, that particular surgery is very much outdated now, and they do a completely different one. But essentially had surgery where they basically, so you've got your, I'll do it down here so you can kind of see. So you've got your mouth here, and your food goes down here, and it goes down your food tube or your esophagus, if you know your anatomy, and then it goes into your stomach, yeah, like that. Well, what they do is they put a ring around the top of your stomach, and it basically restricts the amount of food that you can have and what sort of food that you can have. Didn't and still hasn't come without its side effects, so to speak. The positive is that at my lightest, I managed to drop close to 60 kilos. I don't know what that is in pounds, but I managed to drop 60 kilos. And I was, you know, essentially I went from a size 24, 26 all the way down to a 12, 14. Yeah, and that was at my very, very lightest. Now, let me just say, before you think, surgery, she got out of it easy. No. Oh, no. Nope. I worked my tushy off. I was swimming laps in the pool. I'm not great at a lot of sports, but I can swim. And I was swimming like 2 kilometers at a time in the pool. I was going to the gym, you know, 3 times a day. This is all, you know, whilst we had that stay-at-home business, remember? So I had that flexibility. Like I would go in the morning before breakfast, come home, have breakfast, do some work for the business, go for a lunchtime session, yeah, at the gym, come back, and then go for a nighttime one. I was full on. I was burning those calories. I was, going great guns. And then in between, I was doing 5-10 kilometer walks. I was doing my swimming, all that. And I worked really, really, really hard to drop all that weight. Yes, the surgery helps. The surgery didn't come without its drawbacks though, you know. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I've not enjoyed, for example, a nice steak in 9 years. So this year it'll be 10 years. It'll be 10 years since my surgery. What's happened is, though, unfortunately, and I don't blame anyone but myself. I always, you know, own my choices and my actions. What's happened is now, having gone into the workforce, not that I have, well, I do have less time. It's just that I guess my priority wasn't as high, I suppose, to make that extra effort after work to go to the gym, to go for a swim, to go for a walk. Being in real estate, it can be quite hectic, and it also didn't allow for me to have, you know, the flexibility of the sort of foods I was having whilst I was at home, and I had to readjust. And the hecticness, is that a word? Hecticness? I don't know. I'm going to make it a word. The hecticness of the role that I was in and still am in didn't lead itself to, let's say, wise food choices. I've not made any conscious effort to be doing any exercise, and I'm putting it out there to you all. Yeah, I'm putting it out there. I'm not ashamed. You know, I am. Sometimes you need to put it out there to be held accountable. And as I said, you're going to get it all raw and organic from me. You know, I'm not going to hide anything. And so with that being said, because of I think I've been in real estate 4 years, nearly going on 5 years, the weight slowly crept back up, and I'm not happy. And yeah, I'm being a bit of a sookie la about it. Of course I am. However, again, it's my choice, and I can do something about it, and I will. This year is all about change for me. It's all about change. It's about doing something like, you know, putting my YouTube channel up and running. It's about also making wiser food choices. Yeah. And trying to get that exercise back up and running. And I've decided, you know, goals are always best met when they are realistic and achievable. And so my goal would be just to simply start off with a walk, you know, as my exercise. Go for a walk at least, you know, every day, if not every second day, especially now here in Australia, we're in summer. The weather is beautiful, although, yeah, let me get back to the weather in a second. But yeah, they're some of my personal goals as far as that goes. So I am quite an empathetic person. Some people would class me as an empath, and through life experiences and things that have happened, and we all have them. We all have our life experiences, and hopefully you draw upon those, and it helps you grow and understand and appreciate a lot of things in life. So, you know, I appreciate those that struggle with weight loss. I still do to this day. It's not something that's ever going to go away, really. You can have all the surgery you like. However, it's always the choices of what you put in. You know, you've always got to be mindful of that. You've always got to be mindful of what you're eating, and making sure that, you know, if you are that body type, or if you have medication that you're taking, which I'm not, but if you're taking medication that causes you to retain weight, you know, everyone's got their own story. So, you know, this is a safe place. If you want to email me, my email details are in the description below, and have a chat, you know, on a one-on-one. This is a safe place. There's absolutely no judgment here. You're talking to someone who's lived it and living it. So yeah, that's me and my weight loss. Still a long way to go. From the 12, 14 that I was, I'm probably hedging back up to a 16 now. So put on a few kg over the last few years, which I do want to get rid of again, and get back to where I was, because you know, I don't want to be a super skinny Al McPherson. Nope, no, love you and all, Al, but nope, that's not what I'm aiming for at all. I am just aiming to be in a really healthy place with that aspect of my life. So yeah, that's me and my weight loss. What else can I tell you? So here in Melbourne, Australia, put down below where you're from, and if you're in Melbourne, if you're in Australia even, are you overseas? Love to know. We are supposed to be in summer. Today is January, what day is it today? January 9, the 9th of January, yeah? We are supposed to be in summer. If I tell you that over the last week, I kid you not, and it makes me laugh, I have gone from air conditioner to heater in one day. How ridiculous is that? Now, for those that don't know, Melbourne is very renowned for having 4 seasons in one day. Yeah. So it's today's a warm day, supposed to be a warm day, and tomorrow it's supposed to hit 33 degrees Celsius for those that are OS, and we work in Celsius here, not Fahrenheit. So in case you're thinking 33 is bloody cold, Grace, yeah, no. 33 is actually my sweet spot. I actually I like the hot weather. I hate with a passion the winter. I hate the winter months. I hate it with a passion. I can't deal. I listen to so many people who live overseas. Oops, that went wrong. That went definitely wrong. And you know, they're telling, and obviously they're in their winter at the moment, and showing photos of snow and freezing and so on. And it's like, nope, no thank you. I'm good. I'm good. Actually, one of my dreams would be to spend half my time here in Melbourne, yeah, which is in the bottom part of Australia, and then the other half head up to sunny Queensland, which is north, and enjoy the tropics up there. So get the best of both worlds. Unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. Well, you know what? Never say never. Never say never. Stranger things have happened, I reckon. Stranger things have happened. I wouldn't mind moving up to Queensland. I know a lot of my friends have. A couple of dear friends have just sold, and I won't say your name, but you know who you are if you're watching. And they used to live down on the peninsula here, and they've just sold and they're moving, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to catch up with them before they do. But they're moving from a coastal town down here up to Queensland. So although I'm going to miss them a lot, I am somewhat a little bit jelly as well. So it's okay. It's okay. My journey is my journey, and where I end up is where I'll end up, and that's okay. I'm good with that. So today, probably once I finish wrapping this up, do a bit of housework. It is Saturday morning. I'm waiting for that doorbell to ring in the hope that delivery might come. Oh my goodness. I'm kind of concentrating on what I want to talk about, and trying to listen out for that doorbell, which is a really interesting experience. But that's okay. I'm good. Yeah, so I'll probably end up doing some housework. Hopefully if the weather warms up even more, I've got a little dipping pool out the back, and when the kids get here, if it's warm enough, we might, you know, just sit in there and chill out for a bit. But nothing much more than that, really. Nothing much more. It's I actually quite enjoy my weekends to recharge and just, you know, not do too much. By the time I finish my working week and come home and have to do, you know, housework, even if it's just that little bit of tidy up, I'm exhausted by the end of the week. So this to me is the absolute best. Saturday mornings, I don't mind doing a bit of diamond painting, and I do try and catch Mrs C's live when I can, especially if I'm home and not out and about having to do something. I love jumping on there and chatting with the rest of the group that's on there, and catching up with, you know, how things are over there in the US with her and her family. as I said, it's a community. It really is. It's really weird. I guess, you know, it's a nice feeling. I've always been one to be a team player. The business that we had, you know, I ran a team, literally, and that team was then part of a bigger team. Where I work, we are a team. So I love that camaraderie, that you know, thing of having something in common and sharing those common interests, and being able to enjoy, you know, this hobby with other like-minded people. That's the word I was looking for. I'm sitting here struggling, going, what's the word, Grace? And it's like-minded. So the kind of content that I hope to be bringing you moving forward is, like, I would love to, I'm going to give you my post review on this when it's done. I know it's kind of all over the place at the moment. As I said, this is my first partial, and so I like to sort of do a particular colour all the way through and then do the next batch. Most people might section off, and yeah, anyway, all that good stuff. I'll show you all that. Then that brings me to my next point. What sort of content am I going to bring you? Well, as I said this at the start, so many things have already been done. Yeah, they've already been done. You know, unboxings have been done. Everyone's got their own whip and chats. We have our live stream creators out there as well, which, you know, I'll be doing in due course as well. Some of the things that I will be bringing will not only be just, I'm not going to lie, it's been done before. However, I might have a Gracie twist to it. You know, I might have a twist. I might have my way of doing things. And you know what? What I've seen already done online, it doesn't mean that what they do is going to be the best fit for how I like to work. And conversely, what you see that I present may not necessarily be how it works best for you. But the great thing about diamond painting is that there's no diamond painting police out there. I know, right? Not one. There is not one diamond painting police officer. I promise you. You do you. You do this craft and you set up things how you want to do them. And no one's going to tell you any different, because that's the whole idea about being creative. You know, it's about being creative in not only producing these, it's about being creative in how you might organize storage. It's widening, you know, it's opening up those creative juices and allowing you to express your craft in the way that you want. And I'm going to be kind of saying that a lot throughout my videos, because I do believe that you should stay true to yourself. And, you know, and just because I say, you know, I use these containers or I use this method or so on, doesn't mean it's the only way out there. There is heaps. And you might look at what I do and say, you know, and send me a message and say, you know what, Grace, I do that, but I also add this, this, and this, or I change it to make it work. And I would love to hear that. Absolutely love to hear it. It's all about improving. Like I said, I have only been using the pen that comes in the kits. Yep, I've got my 4-placer and my single, and I've got 2 squishes on there, and that's all I've been using until I get my specialty pen, which is coming in the mail. So you don't need to be fancy. Keep it real, keep it to within your budget, and that's where listening to us online and subscribing to my channel, I'll be able to bring you all that good stuff. I'll be able to bring you, especially here in Australia, where to purchase things from if you are on a budget. If you're not on a budget, obviously there's heaps and heaps of options. But if you can get stuff here in Australia, obviously there's not only mail time that's going to be less, but also postage and shipping costs will be less. Although with that being said, some overseas online places do have free shipping. Most of them I've noticed so far you have to have a minimum spend, so again that works against the whole budget thing. Yeah, so that's the sort of content that I would like to be bringing. as I said, it'll be unboxings. If I find new tools to purchase and use and implement, I'll definitely be showing them. And my way of doing that will be, once I get that tool, I'm thinking I want to use it for the first time online with you guys. You know, let's go through it together. Let's go through the journey together, and you can learn from what I do or don't do wrong, and join in all the fun. So from sunny Melbourne here, sunny Melbourne. It's sunny now. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Actually, tomorrow, no, I said it's going to be 33. I am going to sign off now. This has been my first whip and chat. I hope I haven't bored you. I think I've thrown a whole heap of mishmash of stuff in there, and, you know, giving you a bit of background as to who I am, where I've come from, what's brought me to this place, and when I say this place, what's brought me to diamond painting, and why I enjoy it so much. I look forward to having you around, and if you do like, you know, what you've seen so far and you'd like to see some more, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified each time I do upload a new video. I'd love to hear from you wherever you are in the world by leaving a comment down below and saying hello. I will try and answer all of your comments as soon as possible. With that being said, I wish you a wonderful, great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Much love to you all, and ciao ciao for now.